Alright guys, what's up? This is gonna be my settings video. If you have any questions that I don't answer after this video, drop them in the comments. I'll try and get to all of them. But I'm just gonna go over the settings from top down. Like, I'll go through every little setting and I'll mention my thoughts on it and whatnot. So, as for my button layout, I already have a layout video tutorial about Claw and how I play my game. Let me turn down the sound real quick, actually. Okay. Alright. So, let's start with my settings. So, from basic, crosshair color, I've just always played on white. This is just preference. Some people like green, some people like blue. It's whatever. Um, Aim assist. I get a few questions about aim assist sometimes. Aim assist, I feel like definitely keep it on. You definitely want to keep it on because what aim assist does is if you have your crosshair over a target and they move to the left or right a little bit, your crosshair will slightly drag on them. It's not that much of a big difference, but where it does help is say you're prone in the grass, and say this is first person, right? You can't see the target. You could hear the target though. I've actually had times where I'm shooting at a guy while I'm prone in the grass, like completely blind. Like I can't see him because the grass is in my view. But I would notice my crosshair shift a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, depending on where he's moving. It's a very slight movement, but it definitely helps if you know what you're doing. Um, Blocked by wall. I think this is when if you're up next to a wall and your crosshair is like shooting over the wall, it'll show you like a little red circle letting you know like your gun isn't peeking over the wall. So you can't actually shoot over the wall even though your crosshair is over the wall. I think that's what blocked by wall is. Bolt action rifle and crossbow firing. I just have that on tap. Same with shotgun firing. I've never messed with release. I don't know what that does really. Here's a big one. Peek and fire and peek and open scope. I actually don't know what the difference with that is. But I just have both on. The main thing I think peek and open scope is right when you lean, it automatically scopes in for you. So that helps a lot because that's just one extra button that you don't have to click. You don't have to lean and then press your scope in button, and you can just start shooting right after you lean. And once you get really good with your awareness of where you're leaning and where you're aiming before you do the lean peek, a lot of the times you can lean and you should be able to scope in on your target or relatively close to your target and then just start shooting them. When you have peek and open scope on, you don't have to lean and then press your zoom in button and then start shooting. So it's just a little bit fire. And for peek options, I do tap to lean. I've heard some people use hold to lean. I would say use tap to lean because if you have to hold down your lean button, to keep leaning, that's just one finger that's occupied the whole time that you can't use for other actions. Like with my setup, I could lean and then crouch or lean and then unscope all with one finger. If I had to hold to lean, my finger is stuck on my lean button the whole time. Alright, display left side fire button. I think that's just the extra little fire button. I just always have that on. Gyroscope. I don't use gyroscope. I know there are quite a few pro players that do use gyroscope, but I think I'm a pretty good player without gyroscope, so I just haven't messed with it. In theory, gyroscope is good because if you can master claw and then you can also master moving your phone tilting, it's just like an extra tool. And if you can master that tool along with every tool you already have, that just makes you a little like just that much better. It's kind of like why people switch from thumbs to claw. It's kind of similar to that. Adding on gyroscope, if you're a fucking monster at it, then more power to you. But I personally feel like that's just too much going on for me to try and control and master at the same time that I'd rather just stick to, getting my claw down and getting the game down. Like understanding rotations, understanding, strategy. Like I feel like that's more important than trying to master all these other little things like gyroscope and stuff. I have auto open doors off or disabled. Um, there are a lot of times where having that auto door on comes in clutch. Because I've had a few times where I run into a door and it doesn't fucking open. And if I had auto door on, it'll open automatically. And that's just also one button less that you have to click. You don't have to click open a door when you get to the door. It's very minuscule, but the reason why I keep it off is because a lot of the times you're running around in a building and you want to keep doors closed. If you get too close to the door, it opens by itself, and I think that's way more detrimental than being able to open doors right when you run at them. So that's why I keep it off. Healing prompt, I'm not sure what that is actually. Let me check that out. Enables the best recovery option based on health. Yeah, I mean, why not have that on? Play emote, that's just your emotes. Here's another big setting. I don't think a lot of people know about this setting. First person perspective camera view. The lower you have this set, the less you could see from your left and right side. So let me actually show you this. So, okay, right here. You see this gas station? Like this little pump thing I'm aiming at right now? Okay, see? You notice how you can still see it off to the side? This is at 103 field of view. Now if I turn this all the way down to 80, oh, did it go through? Oh, it did go through. Oh, that's only for first person perspective. Shit. Okay, I need to go pick up a gun and go into first person. So I need to go run for a vehicle. Yeah. Give me a second, guys. Alright, well, while I'm running for a vehicle, allow other players to see your results. I don't care. Show outfit. I don't care. So I just have that. I have those both on. Like, why not? So that covers all the basic settings. After that, let me show you what I'm talking about with the field of view, though, because it's pretty important. I actually used to not play out at 103 FOV because I didn't know what it did. But after I figured out what it actually does, it's better to have it on the highest FOV. Let me find a scope. Hopefully I could demonstrate it. It works in first person point of view. I'm not sure if it works, if you'll see a difference here, but let's see. Alright, so okay. So that this wheel right here of this car is barely showing, okay? And this is on 103. Now if I turn this all the way down, okay, looks like I can't really show it in this third person point of view, but I did mess with it in an actual FPP game, and the higher you have this set, the more you could see on your right and left hand side. So I think it's always better to have that maxed out. Alright, and then on to graphics. I play on smooth simply because there's an extreme option. Balance doesn't have an extreme option. For the iPhone 8 Plus, it depends on your device. Some devices on smooth can't even run extreme, but I can, and I want the highest frame rate possible so the game looks as smooth as possible. That way when a target is running left and right, it's not choppy. It's basically frames per second. I don't know if balance has an extreme option, but maybe if you're on like an iPhone X or you have like a really high-end phone, there's an extreme option. I'm not too sure. But the main important thing is your frame rate. You want to set your frame rate as high as possible. Style, this is just preference. I've just always played on classic, so that's why I keep it on classic. Anti-aliasing, I just turned this on recently. I don't notice a difference between disable and enable. But I mean, if your phone doesn't have any trouble with anti-aliasing on, I don't see why not keep it on. Auto adjust graphics. This is basically when your phone gets too hot or you're playing at settings too high, it'll tell you, hey, do you want to turn down your settings? So that's what that is. Alright, up next, controls. I've always just played on this one, the first setting. I know some people play on number 2, some play on number 3, I don't know. I've just always played on 1. I haven't messed with these too much ever, so I can't commentate on that. I just use this. And customize, this is my button layout. I already did a video over this, my claw layout, 4-finger claw. Vehicle, I've just always had it on 1 also. I've never really messed with any of these. 1 works for me. Sensitivity, this is where I get a lot of questions, like, what's your sensitivity, blah blah blah. This is just what I have mine set on. This works for me. It's different for everyone. I know some people have it super high, some people have it lower, but I'll just scroll through this real quick. I'm actually going to turn up my 2x sensitivity a little bit right now. Because I remember one fight where I had the 2x, and it just didn't move fast enough for me, just slightly. And I lost the fight due to that. And I've been thinking about putting it up a little bit. Because the 2x and the red dot, my red dot's at 50, my 2x was at 30, I believe, yeah. The 2x and red dot, it's not that much difference, so I'm just going to move my 2x sensitivity a little bit closer to my red dot sensitivity. And this change is very small. I probably won't even notice it. But the red dot I'm really comfortable with. The 2x, there was just one fight where I felt like my sensitivity wasn't high enough, so that's why I'm moving it up some. And gyroscope, I don't use gyroscope, so that doesn't matter. But this is my, these are my sensitivity settings. Pickup, this is a big one, okay? They recently changed the auto loot option so that you could customize how much ammo you pick up for each gun. This is really good for if you're doing like hot drops. Like say you're dropping boot camp and you need to like pick up guns as fast as you can. Like you don't have time to click the screen to pick things up. This is where auto pickup comes super handy. As for competitive play, auto pickup isn't that useful because a lot of the times you don't drop with like 20 other squads in one spot, you know, in the tournament gameplay. At most you drop with 1 or 2 other teams. And then, even then, you don't drop on top of each other. Everyone splits off to their own section to loot, you know? So, it's not that important. But I will say, auto pickup is great for if you're queuing, like, normal matches and you're hot dropping. So, mess with your auto pickup settings a little bit. Decide how much ammo you want, how much recovery items you want, and etc. And audio, this is just your audio settings, you know? Just adjust it to however you like. I will say SFX is the most important because that dictates how loud the footsteps are. So I just have that maxed out. And music is whatever, that's why I have it really low. And master, I have it on 0 right now because I'm in training room and I don't want to hear people shooting everywhere. So that concludes my my settings video. So hopefully I covered everything. If you guys have any questions, drop it in the comments below. And let me know what other tutorials you guys want to see. Alright, have a good day or good night whenever you guys are watching this video. And that's it for me.